Hey, it's Adam's Parables. Today's message, changes of seasons. Changes of seasons. Perfect time of the year to recognize, identify change in season. It's real easy to identify in the fall because you see the leaves. Well, not these. These are evergreens. These will be green about all year. Depends on what type of plant it is. But most trees, those maples, those oak trees, those leaves start to turn bright red or bright orange or even yellow before they turn brown and they fall to the ground. It all signifies a change of season. It's not quite winter yet, but it's no longer summer. All the 80 and 90 degree temperatures, they're done for the year, particularly in North Carolina. But where you are, if you're in Florida, it may last a little longer because those trees are just different. But winter is coming. Winter is coming, but winter can be beautiful. Winter can be harsh. Winter can be cruel, downright cruel in some places with blizzards and ice and traffic problems and wrecks and collisions. It's all part of the changes of seasons. But one thing we know, we must survive. In your life, I don't know where you are in your physical health. I don't know where you are with regard to retiring. Did you save enough? Can you retire? I don't know where you are regarding the children that you've raised and they've grown and they're gone. Will they ever come back? Do they call and check on you? Have you valued the importance of relationships? I don't know where you are regarding your marital life or your boyfriend-girlfriend relationships. But everybody's walking through seasons. I do know that. It's one of the things we have in common. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Ecclesiastes talks about as long as the earth remains, there'll be seed time and harvest. Winter and summer shall never cease. Seasons are just that. They're seasons. They're times for opportunities. There's a season where you have to go and plant your seeds so that in the fall or in the end of the summer, you can have a harvest that comes forth. There are seasons where you have to save money, put money away so that you can go and buy the furniture. You can go and put the deposit down on the house because you save money in that season. There are seasons where you have to make sure you're healthy, make sure you're eating well, so that when some strange virus comes, you don't have those comorbid conditions that make you more vulnerable to attacks that could take you to the grave. So, and what do you know about seasons? Do you understand that you went through grade school, you went through middle school, you went through high school? They were all seasons of life. I call it the decades. From age infant to age 10, that's decade 1. You don't have much responsibility right there. Your parents are pretty much doing everything for you, footing the bill, and sort of trying to train you to just pick up your stuff and put it away and make your bed. That's a season. It's decade 1. Decade 2, 10 to 20, you get more responsibility now. You got to begin to get yourself up out of the bed and get yourself ready to get on the school bus, get your homework done by yourself, and you can get some help from some teachers. You can get your parents to help you, your older sister or brother to help you, maybe a tutor to help you. But that season, you got to take responsibility, because when you want to drive, you want to get a driver license, and you want to be able to hit the roads and go by yourself, you got to prove yourself responsible in that season. And by the time you hit 20 or 21, you ought to be mature enough that you can go off to college or go off and get a job and begin to make your way in life because you had that second decade to train you. But it's only a season. From 20 to 30, that's a different season now. Now who's going to help you? Now who's going to foot the bill? After you already told your mother and father, I'm grown, let me do it on my own. You've been saying that since you were 3 years old, and now it's approached. Now it's here. But it's still a season. And it's a season where you figure out how money works and how you can blow money and waste money and lose money hand over fist and end up broke and end up struggling financially with student loan debt and credit card debt and car loans and wasting money on pizzas and beer, hanging out with college kids. Being immature It's just a season. But you can recover from that season, because when you get to your 30s, oh yeah, time to put the games away for real. I wish you put it away when you're in your 20s, but in your 30s, you really, really, really have to dial in. Say, you know what? There is no net. If I'm going to get promoted on this job, I'm going to have to do my due diligence. I'm going to have to do the work. I'm going to have to, qualify for the promotion. I'm going to have to put in the extra learning. I'm going to have to take some extra courses and develop myself in that season. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do, because that's that third decade. And you probably get married in that season, or at least try it. Yeah, you'll probably lose and forget most of your college friends, or definitely your high school friends. Where are they at now? That season is past. We have to value the seasons and the people that are in it. I heard something real powerful today about when you have these seasons, you have people in your life. Some of them are destiny friends. Some of them are here for life. Some of them are supposed to be with you indefinitely. Yet others, you won't see them after college. You won't see them, after this particular job. But if you were friends toward them and you respected them and you honored them, there still may be some use that you may glean or have need to benefit for having known them. This is what it's all about, relationships. It's always been about relationships, and it's always been about the faith that we have in God. Now, every season is a season for God. Let's just jump up to category decade number 4. You're in your 40s now. Where are you? How's life treating you at 40? Are these happy 40s? Are these regretful 40s for what you did in your 30s? Are these happy 40s because you plan to be 40 and you plan to have these children and you're not financially strapped and stressed out about every little thing because the economy's changed and inflation's hard to keep up with in your 40s? Oh, it's about to get better. Why? Because at this age, you know who you are, you know what you are, you know what you're willing to do, you know what you're not willing to do, and now you just need to decide, how great can you be? Oh, God has placed greatness within you. And I submit that you can be as great as you want to be. You can go as high as you want to go. You can do as much as you want to do, and nobody can stop you. On the flip side, nobody can make you do any more than you're willing to do. But it ain't over. Many people from the culture I'm from, they hit 40 plus. Oh, I'm getting old now. Are you kidding me right now? Are you 100? Are you even near 100? Take the limits off and stop shrinking back and dig in. Engage your 40s and rock this thing. Develop yourself. Walk in your confidence. Walk in your swag. Walk in your beauty. Walk in your glory. Walk in your kingliness. Walk in your queenship. Glory to God. Be a boss babe if you got to be a boss babe. But be a mogul if you can be a mogul, because you didn't live all these years to get to age 50 and have nothing to show for all that you've been through. You don't want to be that person. Been living all these years. Here you are coming up on that 5th decade, and you start to regret that you partied too much. You didn't study enough. You didn't develop your gifts. You didn't take certain courses to help you, evolve and overcome and be more dominant in the things that you had control over. Oh yeah, it wasn't the man. It is not the systems of this world. Oh, they do impact us, but we have choices. We decide who we hang with. We decide who we sleep with. We decide who we marry. We decide what we eat. We decide how we drink. We decide if we exercise or don't exercise. We decide if we pray or not. By the time you get 50, if you ain't learn how to pray by the time you get 50, you better fall on your knees and say, God, teach me to pray, because it's not going to get no easier from here. It'll be easier in some things because now you have wisdom. Wisdom what? Wisdom of experience. All the things you learn going through your teens, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s can be useful to you in your 50s, because now you have discipline. Now you sort of seen it all. You had friends that they've come and gone. You've seen people go the way of the grave. You've been married, and I pray you still are. You might be divorced by now. Some of y'all 2-3 times divorced, twice removed. But in your 50s, no more excuses. In your 50s, if it is to be, it's up to me. In your 50s, you got a few more years to bank that money, to save that dough, to get that investment fully funded, to reclaim some relationships with your children, with your family, with your loved ones. Because if you don't want to get to your 60s and have something go wrong and nobody even comes to see about you. Oh, this whole life is about relationships. This whole life is about how we learn to value people, how we learn to value and respect ourselves, how we learn to treat our bodies better and treat our minds with more respect, how we learn to guard our hearts above all, because out of it shall flow forth the issues of life. How to protect our emotions, how to live by faith and walk by faith, how to pray in faith, how to believe God against all odds and hope against hope, how to reclaim, how to restore, how to redo, how to renew, how to make up for lost time, if it were possible. I love Romans 12:18 says, as far as it depends on me. Yeah, your life depends on you. Can I not tell you life is what you make it? It depends on you. There's still things that you must do. And you're coming into your 60s, you can enjoy your 60s. Oh my goodness, rock that gray. You ain't got to dye everything. Rock that gray in your beard, that gray in your wig. You ought to be free enough from people by the time you turn 60. It don't matter what they think anymore. And I'm not saying you should disrespect anybody or dishonor anyone, because honor is a secret to having great relationships. If you can honor people, if you can respect people, if you can love people, glory to God, you'll have people. You'll always have people. But if you dishonor, then you will be dishonored. If you disrespect, then you will be disrespected. If you fail to show love, you'll end up all by yourself with no one to love you and no one to care. That's not where you want to be, because you're going to 70. By the time you get to 70, guess what? You could be moving around in your 70s like you do in your 40s or your 50s if you protect your tempo. I think I told you just the other day, I can get another car. You can get another house. Yeah, you can get another job. You can start another business. Certain stage, you can't get no more kids. You can adopt some, but you ain't gonna get no more you. You're the only one you got. You take care of you, for me. I take care of me, for you. Let that sink in. Ponder over that a while and ask yourself, what could this mean? All it really means is nobody's gonna do it for you. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's willing to do for you anything that you're not willing to do for yourself. Check the record, check the statistics, check the factual data, check the research. You're in charge of you. I'm in charge of me. Under God, I own me. Under God, you own you. And that means we have a responsibility. But if I say I own me, I say you own you, how much are you worth? Well, how much have you invested into your mind, into your physical well-being, into your relationships? You ought to be developing destiny relationships. You ought to meet people with purpose. You ought to respect people intentionally. You ought to go the extra mile to see to it that you see the value in people and you leave them better than you find them. And hope to God that when people meet you, they see the value in you, they can invest in you, or at least leave you better than they found you. Yeah, you should not be any less for having lost a loved one, or lost a mate, or lost a job. You ought to be able to go on into the next phase of life and keep right on moving. Keep right on swagging. Keep right on rocking. Keep right on building. Keep right on trusting. Keep right on hoping. Keep right on loving. And may God grace you to see 80. My grandmother lived to be 84 years old. She was born in 1900. So that's always been my goal. But on my dad's side, I found out that my grandmother on his side lived to be 101 years old. Woohoo! That gave me another goal. Now, along life's journey, my mom passed away at 47 years old, heart disease. It was hypertension one year, high blood pressure the next year, diabetes the next year, heart attack the next year. The next year, she was expired. And I like to think those 11 bottles of pills that I saw in her medicine cabinet, actually her kitchen cabinet, all those were avoidable had she cut down on that sodium, cut out that southern fried foods, stop eating all these big meals with these big people who just love to eat and laugh and have a good time. It was fun. It was a good time, but it came at a price. And everybody knows when you get a certain age, your doctor gonna tell you, you got to cut out this and kill those sugars and drink plenty of water. You need to exercise 3 to 4 days a week, 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, at least on a walk, if you're going to get yourself back together and not take insulin. Yeah. I lost my sister at age 52. Her ordeal was nicotine. I'm sure there were other things underneath and behind and all of that, because when you don't prosper financially, life is just overall harder. And you have to eat what you can get. And you have to do what you can, but it brought on a massive stroke. And after 1 year, she was able to recover, but then the doctor said, hey, you've got a blood clot that we see in your thigh, and if we don't get this taken care of, it may go up into your brain or something or other. Next thing you know, they were operating on her head. Put 32 staples in her head and sent her home after 2 days. And within a week, she was gone. What am I saying? You got to make the investment in you when? Now. You got to take care of your health when? Now. You got to plan for your future when? Now. Oh, it's so very important, because seasons are going to keep right on going around. We're coming up on the end of college football season. There'll be championships before the new year. Probably, New Year's Day, there'll be a bowl game, and all the way up until that. But then you'll end up with the NFL football season that'll end in February. The season will be over until next year, for which they'll get new recruits and new star players and all kinds of new stuff happening around them. And then, of course, we're in the basketball season. You see, all these things are cyclical, but in the world itself, it's actually strategy. They planned it. They planned the marketing campaigns to get you watching. They planned to get your ticket money. They planned to get the concessions money from you, from me. We go to games. It's a plan. So if they're planning to get it from you, you got to make a plan for God to get it to you, for them to get it from you. Because if you don't have it, you can't get it. And never waste time. Yeah. Make wise investments. I take care of me for you. You take care of you, for your family, or whoever is counting on you. You might one day be called on to handle everything, to be a good steward at the top of everything. But if you don't get it now while you can, guess what? You won't be able to. And nothing worse than some state government or some social worker or some person coming in making decisions on your life that you should have made when you were 30, when you were 40, or when you were 50. And train up your children in the way they should go. While you're raising children, you raise them well. Just because they turn 18, don't you kick them out. You keep that relationship. That's not optional. And because they turn 25, don't you do away with them. That's your bloodline. That's the only seed you got in the earth. That's not optional. Husbands and wives, sometimes they seem optional. But children, those are maternal connections. They are not optional. No matter what the season is, you and your mama always going to be good. You and your dad are always going to be good. You and your children are always going to be, you and your siblings are always going to be good. Those other relationships, they subject to change. They subject to come and go. But whatever season you find yourself in, therewith, the Apostle Paul says, you should be content. That's all I got for today. This has been Adam's Parables. This is a season of change. And under New Seed Ministries, we say we should always grow, develop, and change. Keep growing, keep developing, keep changing, and keep walking by faith. Have a great rest of your week.